Well, it's quite remarkable when you see people who have been so sleep deprived for such a long time, who really haven't gotten a good night's sleep in years. Some of them, just their face relaxes. They're able to see what needs that they have, like people who need to get their IDs or they need to get a doctor. We've had a few people who've gone in and gotten surgery that wouldn't have been able to otherwise. So really having that stable place, that base is really how everything falls into place.
Our experience has been that properties that are unattended regularly, church properties, empty lots, tend to bring in homeless populations, people who are looking for shelter but don't have any support of any kind, and that often becomes an untenable situation for neighbors. A well-managed microsite that has social service support for people who are actively trying to move from a temporary situation to a permanent situation becomes a quiet and respectful neighbor. They're in the neighborhood and they want to be neighbors. They want the permanently housed people to be quiet and respectful too. Because these are well-managed and well-managed sites that control access after hours, they don't attract more campers to them. They're maintained in a way that helps reduce the amount of crime, and that's been borne out in our West Eugene area, where lots of businesses actually would support 1 or 2 Conestoga huts on their properties. Large businesses that have a lot of property or a lot of parking area that were experiencing a lot of vandalism and theft overnight and in unattended hours, and having 1 or 2 campers brought down all the crime in the area.
Reducing the amount of unsheltered homelessness actually improves the property values, because it's the unsheltered homelessness that can lead to buyers having second thoughts. When people are sheltered in safe, sanitary conditions, it improves the quality of life for everyone. For example, we had a problem with a lot of RV campers along the side streets, no waste or sanitation collection, and we were able to work with our local law enforcement and with the neighborhood to clean up that area. We brought in dumpsters, and our villagers actually helped to clean up the debris.
The people are busy with their lives, finding work, taking their kids to school, doing the things that all the rest of us do in permanent shelter in a more transitional way. And, I think it's, especially 5 or 6 little units, it's not an eyesore in any way. It doesn't devalue neighbors' property. It adds to the neighborhood and provides a nexus for people to bring help. We find that in very, very cold situations, because they don't have power, people are bringing a bowl, a big pot of soup. Hi! Or, my grandmother knitted me 72 pairs of socks and I have no need for them. Would you like some of those?
Okay.
It becomes a place where we can celebrate together the joys of having enough.
Well, we have a fence around our property, and we have a security policy. So if people came uninvited, they would come to the gate and they would be turned away. We don't really have any strangers here. We actually have a code, so people have to know that code to be able to access the site. And that just makes everyone feel safer, knowing that the people who are here have been carefully vetted and screened to be here.
There's strong rules about not collecting a lot of extra stuff. Can't accrue blue tarps, covered piles of stuff, and 72 bicycles and half of a lawnmower and cars that don't work. That isn't the situation, and so they're very neat and tidy, well kept.
Folks have been living in really substandard conditions for a long time, and they really appreciate the opportunity to be somewhere safe with heat and a caring community. We really believe that community first is even more important than housing first. People feel welcome here. having this kind of a stable place for people to be so that they can transition to housing when it becomes available is just really key for them being able to stay in that socioeconomic world so that they can maintain employment and be productive members of society. So having more places for people to be is good for all of us.
If you don't have a dry, reasonably safe place to be for the 8 or 10 hours a day when you aren't up and about, it's very hard to function. And if we want people to succeed and we want the rising tide to lift all boats, we have to make sure that we're not leaving some people tied to the bottom. We have to help them float with the rest of us, and that's what this is about.